What if ChatGPT just didn't exist tomorrow? Could you get through your day? Could you effectively do your job? If the answer is no, that's a problem. I've used AI for over 1,000 hours to navigate my career, build a brand, and grow my podcast. And I've learned one undeniable truth. AI won't replace you, but it will scale you. Artificial intelligence allows you to bring more of you into the world. But here's the problem. When I scroll through social media, I see the same thing. Fake videos, cookie cutter content, and gurus selling their master prompts that are going to help your career. That's why this episode's different. I don't follow trends and I only share stuff I know will be valuable. Artificial intelligence is the coolest thing to come out in my lifetime, and I want to help you leverage it. So settle in. We're going to cover the 5 rules for using AI in your career. 10 years ago, I was sitting at my desk at Bank of America, and I was asking myself the question that I ask myself almost every morning, which was, am I on the right path? You know, I had spent years wasting time applying for the wrong jobs, staying in jobs too long, and doing work that really didn't align with my highest value. And I always wished there was a simple way for me to find out if I was on the right path. Am I in the right career? Am I doing the right stuff? Fast forward to January of this year, I decided I wanted to build something, a career fulfillment quiz, something quick and easy that people could use to figure out, is the work I'm doing fueling me or is it draining me? So I Googled existing options and everything just didn't look right for me. It was clunky or super expensive or really wasn't customizable to the level that I expected. And so I kind of put it on pause. I thought, you know what, maybe this just isn't the right time. I can't really create this right now. And who knows if anybody even wants it. So in August, GPT-5 launched and I realized I can make this whole thing myself. It didn't take any coding experience, and all for $20, I could spin up an MVP, a product that I might actually be able to get out into the world. So I spent a few days working on that, customizing really what I wanted it to look and feel like. And then I did what I've always done, which is I wanted to get some feedback. So I sent it to a whole bunch of people that I knew would give me some direct feedback, and I got some great feedback. And so started to keep iterating it and making sure that it was exactly the experience that I wanted folks to have when they use this tool. And that's what this episode's all about. It's about using AI to scale you, to leverage AI to get more of you out into the world, to get those ideas, those passions, those insights that you have out into the world in a tangible way. And here's the best part. That quiz is live today. I told you about it the last episode. I'm really pumped. Here's some of the feedback I'm already getting from folks. This was a great quiz. The questions actually made me think about my career. Another person said, it reminded me that I need to start looking for a new job. Another person said, it helped me ask myself some tough questions I'd been avoiding. So if you give me 3 minutes, this tool will help you figure out if the career you're in is fueling you or draining you. So the link is in the description. I'm super pumped about it. I want you to take that quiz and see where things are at. Are you on the right path? Are you where you need to be? What I built was only possible using AI. Now, the great thing about AI is it's an amazing tool, but it's only as good as the way you use it. How you approach AI is going to determine the next decade of your life. Will AI replace your job? Will you be a late adopter? Will you let AI take over your life? We're at a turning point in artificial intelligence. It's making its way into every facet of our life. I can't turn on the TV without seeing a commercial for AI. I can't go on LinkedIn without hearing about someone who just launched an AI business. So before it's too late, I want to help you figure out how to use AI to get the things you want in your career, to get promoted faster, to get more responsibilities, to stand out more, to do work that actually aligns with your highest calling. So I'm excited to jump into it, and I want to start with rule number 1, mastery creates separation. So I'm embarrassed to say I use AI way more than I'd like to admit. I use it every single day of my life. Sometimes it's 30 minutes. Sometimes I'm on it for 10 hours, 11 hours a day using different tools. But the key is the more I use it, the better I got at it. In the beginning, my prompts were absolutely crap. My outputs were crap. And I was getting frustrated because I wasn't getting out of the tool what I expected from it. And then I realized that's on me. That's not on the tool. And just with any other tool in life, if you don't know how to use it, it's a waste, right? And so the more I use it, the better I got. And I think that's the key here. If you haven't started using AI on a daily basis, you're behind because there are people right next to you in your company, your coworkers, your competitors who are using it to level up their career and level up their life. So the key is starting now. And I want to give you a bonus pro tip. Here are some of the questions that I really like to ask LLMs I'm using. Questions like, what are my blind spots? What do I have that others need? Where could I be working harder or smarter? Where am I wasting time? Does my plan need to be changed given the current trends? right? So we have a strategic advisor in our pocket that we can ask questions to that can give us unbiased feedback. I mean, who doesn't want that, right? That's the way we grow. That's the way we move up in our careers. So mastery creates separation. I want you to use these tools as much as you can. I want you to find interesting use cases to put them into your career and your life. And I want you to get comfortable with these tools because they're not going away. And the quicker you get comfortable with it and the quicker you master it, the farther and faster you're going to move. Rule number 2, using AI as a crutch. We were born with amazing brains that are capable of fantastic, complex thought. Why would we give that up and use a tool instead? What happens if all of us start using AI every single day to make all of our decisions? What if it replaces us listening to our gut or our instincts? Do we all become the same? Is there any personalities left, or are we all going to be clones of the same thing? Are we all going to be putting the same things out into the world? That's my worry. So when I think I'm using AI too much, when I'm relying on it too much, I need to ask myself a question and say, well, why am I relying on it right now? Could I have thought about this thought? Anytime there's creative tasks involved, I want to be the one doing those. I don't want to ask AI to do that. I want them to be there for the boring, mundane stuff that just takes away my mental bandwidth. AI should be a part of the value you bring in this world. It should not be all of it. If your entire filter and how you operate in the world is all done through artificial intelligence, no bueno. So rule number 3, blind trust. In the beginning, I put way too much trust in the outputs that I got from the different AI tools I was using. And I assumed every time it put something out, it was probably the best answer, the most trustworthy, it was the most accurate, right? I just assumed it's pulling from the best sources. That ain't the case. In fact, I just read a study a couple of days ago that showed that up to 40% of the data that ChatGPT gathers is from Reddit. Ooh, that's scary. I don't know if you've been on Reddit, but if that's where it's getting its facts, I don't want to trust those facts. There's some great stuff on Reddit, but there's also a ton of crap. So blind trust in AI is not something you want to do. You want to always be asking yourself, does this output make sense? Don't just trust. And something else that I think is worth mentioning is, I don't know if you've been on these LLMs recently and realized how encouraging they are. Sometimes I'll put in some ideas that I have, some strategies that I think work, and it will tell me they're amazing. And they're absolute crap. Like, these are crap ideas. They stink. ChatGPT, Grok, whatever your tool is, should not be saying this is a great idea. It should be telling me it sucks. Just like if I had a friend and I asked them, they would tell me it sucked. And something to keep in mind is that when we put too much trust in the outputs and just assume it's got our best interests and knows what we want at all times, we're failing. We're putting too much trust in another technology. So I want you to just realize, don't trust everything that it comes out with. Make sure that it makes sense logically. Use your brain. You're smart. You can figure out if what it's saying makes sense and applies to you or not. Rule number 4, bad inputs equals bad outputs. So AI outputs are only as good as the inputs. So you could ask it an amazing question and you can get an amazing output, or you can ask it a unclear, boring, dumb question and you can get very basic outputs. And so I think a lot of times people get frustrated with AI because the outputs aren't good. That's not giving me what I want, or it's just repeating the same things back to me. Well, I hate to tell you, but that's on you. That means your inputs aren't good. And I don't want to spend a lot of time giving you all of the specific prompts that I use, but I just want you to remember there's a couple of things that you can do to make sure when you're using these different AI tools that you get what you want. So I always kind of looked through 4 different lenses. I want to make sure that I'm giving it the role I want it to play. So is it going to be a strategic advisor? Is it going to act as my best friend? Is it going to act as an industry expert? I want to give it the context. What's at stake? What's going on? What's happened in the past? What is the state of the union? I want to give it the desired output. What do I want it to give to me? What am I looking to involve it for? And then I want to get the format. Do I want it in a list? Do I want it in a paragraph? Do I want a specific design? So again, I make sure I give it the role that I want it to play, the context, the desired output, and the format. And even if you put all of those 4 things and you have amazing prompts, it's still going to spit out some crap from time to time. I just want you to realize that comes with the territory. These tools are getting better and better. I will say when I started using ChatGPT in late 2022, there was a lot of wasted time on bad outputs. And I got really, really frustrated, and I would have to do the same thing over and over again and ask it slightly different. And I will say with these newer updates, and even more specifically with GPT-5, I have noticed that I'm having to do a lot less of that. Now, I want to give you a couple bonus pro tips, things that I've done that have really helped me. Number 1, within each conversation with whatever LLM I'm using, I make sure to have like kind of a master guidelines or prompts. And in that, I'm including things like what my voice and style are going to be like. And I also have kind of expectations on how I want the tool to challenge me. Something that I really, really enjoy with using these artificial intelligence tools is the way that it allows me to challenge my thinking and really hold myself accountable to a higher standard. Another thing to keep in mind, never take the first output. If the first output is perfect, okay. But for me, I almost never use the first output. I always slightly refine to improve it. So number 5, stay in your strength zone. When we're in our strength zone, we're showing the world our best self. We're showing them our highest value. And guess what? People resonate with that. So we don't get burnt out, we don't lose our passion, and AI enables us to stay in the strength zone. How cool is that? We have a tool that can now do all the shit that we don't want to do, all of the boring, mundane, repetitive, low-value tasks. I don't have to do that anymore. I get to spend time on the stuff I'm best at. So as I was building this podcast, as I was building this business, I didn't have to spend hours and hours and hours in doing shit I didn't want to do. I got to focus on the big picture stuff, the strategy, the vision, the creative work, the stuff that I actually enjoy. In my career, I never enjoyed the boring, mundane, record-keeping operational tasks, but I always enjoyed when I got to just think creatively, when I got to think about what the future was going to look and feel like. And that's what the cool thing about AI is. It allows us to do the things that suck. So where in your career right now could you start using AI? Could you use it in some cool ways to take tasks off your plate? Could you use it to free up mental bandwidth so you could focus on the important stuff? A bonus pro tip is I use it to take action. So do you want to guess the biggest thing that holds people back from doing cool stuff in their career and in their life? It's they don't take action. They're waiting for the perfect moment. I want to learn more about X so that I can then do Y. I want to wait till I get a little bit more feedback before I launch that product. I want to spend a little more time and make sure that the environment's perfect before I do it. Well, fortune favors the bold, and when we take action, we separate ourselves from the rest of the world. So AI has allowed me to take action over and over again. Just like that quiz, instead of waiting for another 2 years to get that made, I was able to make that in a couple of weeks. And I think that's the cool thing about AI. So is there something right now, a cool idea, a side hustle, a passion, something at work, something in your personal life that you could use AI to make it happen, to make it a reality? If so, might be something to think about. So again, the 5 rules. Rule number 1, mastery creates separation. Rule number 2, AI isn't your crutch. Number 3, blind trust is bad. Number 4, bad inputs equal bad outputs. And number 5, stay in your strength zone. So now that you got the rules down, I want to talk about how you can actually start using this in reality at your work, in your career. So these are going to be 6 non-hypothetical use cases. These are 6 ways that you could use AI starting tomorrow to be better in your career, to be a better leader. I've got 4 career use cases and I've got 2 leadership use cases. So let's start with career first. So the first one, searching for a job. Have you ever struggled to find small to mid-sized companies that are in your desired sector? Yeah, so have I. There are a lot of times where I want to find a job, right? I want to find a company that aligns with what I want. Well, why am I not using an LLM, an AI tool, to accomplish that? Why am I going and scouring the internet to spend all of that time trying to find companies that fit my needs, my style? Well, here's how I would use AI to do that. I'm going to give you a prompt that might help. So it could be something like this. Help me put together a list of 10 to 30 companies with under 200 employees in the medical billing sector located within a 30-mile radius of Atlanta. Organize the companies by employee rating on Glassdoor. I am now going to get a list of 10 to 30 companies that are the exact size that I'm looking for. They have the right culture. They're organized in a way that matters to me. And great, I didn't have to spend the hour to 2 hours looking for that. Done for me, right? Easy. Another career one would be writing a resume. Raise your hand if you hate writing a resume. Yeah, me too. Resumes suck. I wholeheartedly hate writing resumes. It is the bane of my existence. So much so that a few years ago, I hired a professional resume writer. I paid him like $800. He made me a great resume, but now I could do that in an hour. I don't need anyone else. I could customize the resume for each job description, or hell, there's even tools that are do-it-for-yourself platforms like Teal that can literally make your resume from start to finish with 0 input from you. So that's something I'd keep in mind is how could I use AI to write a resume that gets me noticed? Everyone has value, but if we're not demonstrating it in the right way, no one's going to see us and we're not going to get selected for any of those interviews. Next one, which would be salary negotiation. So salary negotiations are uncomfortable, right? I've negotiated probably 25 times for a higher salary in my career. And all 25 times I felt uncomfortable, got sick to my stomach sometimes, and it was never easy. What if I had an expert to help me get through those things, to help me follow up in emails when they put something, to figure out how I'm going to say stuff, or hell, even just prepare. How about if I had an AI tool that could help me role play? Well, you can. I have used AI to help me negotiate for salaries, to negotiate with brands. And I think it's an amazing tool because it allows us to challenge our thinking, to get us out of our comfort zone, to make sure that we're prepared. Because at the end of the day, when we go into these salary negotiations, we want to have data. We want to make sure that we're prepared, right? So a bonus pro tip is I actually have a whole episode dedicated to salary negotiations. So if you want to hear how I've negotiated for hundreds of thousands of dollars in my career, give it a listen. I'm positive you'll find some value. The next two are going to be for leadership. So the first one is preparing for a meeting. So I used to be a leader of a large team, and I would hold weekly meetings and monthly meetings for all of my teams. And sometimes that got really challenging to pull together all the information, to put together what I thought would be a concise meeting, to make sure that when people showed up for an hour, they felt like Austin put time and care into this and they actually got something out of it. So I really enjoyed using AI for preparation. It did a couple things for me. Number one, it helped me stay organized. I was able to pull in all of my ideas, my thoughts, and kind of get a concise path. What did I actually want to achieve with that meeting? A lot of times we have all these ideas for meetings and they don't have a structure or a theme. And so AI was allowing me to kind of refine that. Another way that I used it to prepare for meetings is that I would ask it to poke holes in my agenda and poke holes in the ideas, the sections that I was going to cover, and tell me, did that make sense? Was that really the best use of our time? Did that really get us closest to our goal that we had as a team? And if it didn't, I would make changes. Cool stuff. Easy to use anytime you're preparing for a meeting as a leader. Bonus pro tip is that I would actually use it a lot of times to inject a little bit of fun. I always wanted meetings to be, filled with important stuff, but I also knew that as like a human being, I wanted to have a little fun. I wanted to connect with my employees. So I would use AI to sometimes figure out what are some fun games we could play, what are some cool ways we could connect outside of just a work talk to make sure that we're really building that culture that we want as leaders. The next one for leadership, the next use case is finding themes in your performance so you can coach better. So I actually have a friend who's in the consumer clothing space, and he told me the other day that he uses AI every single day at work. And I was like asking, well, how do you do it? I mean, you've been in the industry for a while. What are you really getting out of it? Specifically leading your team. And he said there's two things that he gets from it. Number one is the insights are more interesting. So he's been in the industry for a while, and all of his insights are through his lens, right? His expertise, experience, and they're fantastic and highly valuable. But he doesn't know what he doesn't know. And so having a partner that's different, that's thinking different, that's challenging him differently, allows him to get insights that are more interesting. And when we get more interesting insights, he then gets to spend more time coaching to the things that actually matter. So instead of spending hours and hours of day looking at performance, trying to find themes so that he can then coach, he gets to offset that task and then instead actually spend time coaching. Because if I spend all of my time looking at the performance gaps and the themes, which by the way, I had a boss that did that all day, that's what he did. But he never once coached us. He never once had a conversation with us about the things that he was finding. Well, what value did that provide? It didn't provide any value. He had a whole bunch of information and thoughts, but he never did anything with those. That's the amazing thing with these artificial intelligence tools. It allows us to move faster, to scale our coaching. Again, remember, it's all about how can we scale? How can we get more of us out into the world with the use of AI? So all of that being said, I think AI is one of the coolest things that we have at our fingertips. But it can't replace real world experience. So if you're in a career situation at work where you feel stuck, things aren't going well, you're not paid enough, you're not moving up fast enough, you want to get promoted, you want to get selected to do bigger projects, you want to be a better leader. If you're faced with one of those situations, I know I can help. I've made a career out of helping people be the best version of themselves, and I want to help you do that too. So click the link in the description. I'd be happy to have a chat. To wrap things up, I want to give you a challenge. So here's your challenge for the week. I want you to pick one career-related task this week. It could be writing a resume, updating your LinkedIn profile, preparing for a big meeting. I don't care what it is. And I want you to run it through AI. I want you to compare what you had before you used AI and then compare what your output was. Did it make it easier? Did it improve your efficiency? Did it allow you to free up some space and focus on the things that actually matter, the stuff you actually enjoy doing at work? If you're not using AI to spend more time in your strength zone, you are missing out. So I hope this was helpful. I had a blast preparing for this and sharing everything that I'm using AI for in my life. I want to say thank you so much for listening. Make it a great day.